we have glorified this idea of people who die young, right? And like the Kurt Cobains, like we have this glory story.
I'm not
That
saying
is
he's a
it.
good example. I do take the point. But I
but
mean,
but but that, there's
but
stories we tell in our culture. Like, why do we glorify that? What is so great about being dead?
conquering death will be humanity's greatest achievement. That's the motto of Bryan Johnson, the tech entrepreneur who rose to global fame when he revealed he was spending millions a year trying to reduce his biological age, and he hopes live forever. He is, in his own words, that crazy guy trying not to die. His daily regime involves dozens of daily powders, pills, gene therapies, and more, including putting ice packs on his testicles. In 2023, he hit the headlines for swapping blood with his 17-year-old son as part of his pursuit of radical longevity. And he joins me now. Bryan Johnson, hello.
Hi, nice to see you.
What a pleasure to be speaking with you. Look, you've been trying not to die for quite a few years now, Bryan. I think we're about the same age, and so I'm fascinated by what you do for obvious selfish reasons. It strikes me, having read you on social media quite a lot, it strikes me a lot of people get you wrong because people talk about your project as if you were frightened or if it was joyless or egotistic or whatever, and we'll cover all that. But what always seems to me is people don't realize how much you're enjoying yourself. You're on an adventure, right?
That's right. It's if you reframe it like going to the moon, right? Trying to do something that has never been done before. You initiate a very large project. You bring together a lot of people. This is like going to the moon. This is an epic project. In fact, this is humanity's greatest dream. It has always been humanity's greatest dream to overcome death. So yeah, people look at the protocols, they look at the project, and they don't quite understand what category to put it in, like how to bucket it. But yeah, I mean, this is one of the most epic and beautiful adventures of all of humanity. I mean, we don't want to be diseased and sick. That's just not a thing that humans like.
But you're having fun. When you find a new thing, you're excited about it. When you find out if it works, you're excited about that. I think maybe the joy of it all doesn't often come across.
That's right. I love this so much. I am in my happy place. I love this game. And it really is you're just playing this, you're measuring your body as much as you can. You're looking to scientific evidence. You're getting results. It brings me endless joy.
So you take or subject yourself to about 100 things a day. I'm not going to take 100 things a day. I haven't the time or the money. But if I could take 3, what would they be?
It would be to go to bed on time, turn your screens off 30 to 60 minutes before bed, and maintain a consistent schedule.
That's very unexciting. I want some drugs. Give me some drugs.
I know. That's the thing. People, they want the sexy thing. It really is. It's not sexy. It's going to bed. It's getting high quality sleep. It's exercising every day. And honestly, some of the best longevity therapies are just avoiding bad stuff. So not eating sugar, not sitting down for multiple hours at a time. So it really is, when you get into it, it's not very sexy. It's just having discipline and habits that allow you to do the same things consistently every day.
You work with a team who each day make various measurements. What do they do to you each day?
Oh man, I just finished my 5-hour morning routine. I wake up at 4 a.m. and right now it's 10 o'clock. So I get 6 hours of various therapies, measurements, protocols. I'll work for maybe 4 or 5 hours, and then I have doctor's appointments, therapies. But we've gathered 1.5 billion data points on my body over the past couple of years. I'm the most measured person in human history, and we've become very good. You want to basically people think of diagnoses as bad. Like when you get a diagnosis, it's like terrible. I celebrate it. Like we all have things wrong with our bodies. So you're trying to find things that go wrong as early as possible. And so we've really created this joy machine where when we find a diagnosis, it's like, yes, we found it. Like it was cooking somewhere and we found it.
But what are they doing? They're measuring your blood, they're measuring your saliva, they're measuring your stool, all that kind of thing.
Exactly. So those basic ones, blood, saliva, stool, but also a lot of imaging. We do a lot of fitness tests, brain tests. We do a lot of, for example, last week we did a very large blood draw. We looked at 1 million immune cells. So we looked at each one of my individual immune cells and said, who are you? What are you doing? Can you give me any signal for disease or dysfunction? So we characterize things down to the single cell level.
Okay, so look, of the various supplements you do take, and I've seen lists floating around on the internet, you'll have to correct me if they're inaccurate. Again, I'm not going to list them all, but there's everything in there from sort of fashionable supplements like NMN and NAD pluses to more established things like turmeric, for example. And lots of them are on what would seem to me to be on like the threshold of science. Like there've been various studies that say they might work a bit sometimes in the round, but nothing that the sort of medical science has nailed down as kind of this will definitely work. I'm interested from your perspective. Like, is this really scientific? Because as one man, you surely can't test the efficacy of 100 supplements at the same time. You can't know what happens in one man, what difference turmeric makes, can you?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think to level set where we're at, we are probably in the stone age for health. Like in terms of our real understanding, the things we know that work: high quality sleep, exercise, right, and not doing bad things like don't smoke. Like with those things, we have very high degrees of confidence. Other things, it's not clear. We're still in the very early stages. So this is an experiment, and that's what people don't really, like you were saying, they don't understand is we're trying our very best to look at the scientific evidence and say, of all the things that have been studied, which things have the most scientific evidence. So we approach it that way. We just say like, it's not perfect, it's not guaranteed, but these things have more evidence than other things. And so we base ourselves on the evidence, and then we measure myself, and then we go beyond the evidence. Like we discover things the evidence hasn't discovered. And so that's what makes this project really cool is we're getting real-time feedback. If you take this supplement, does it work? Does it move the marker or does it not? And that's what I like about this is like we can really get into the granular details of moving beyond like some generic conversation with a friend.
But I mean, something like turmeric, I'm not a scientist, but I'd imagine if you want to check whether something like turmeric works, then you fund a study, you give it to 100 people you give it to 50 out of 100 people over 10 years, and you don't give it to the other 50, you see what effect it makes in the round. Compared to that, giving it to one guy who's taking 99 other things, that's next to useless, isn't it?
I mean, if you think about this question more broadly, you're basically asking about the human condition, right? I mean, if you think about what we eat on a daily basis, everything we put into our body, not just turmeric, but every single food you put into your body is an intervention. All your environmental, like your air, your water, your clothing, your environment, light, your friendships, like your relationships, all those things are interventions. So yes, it is an incredibly complicated question. That said, we try to isolate things as best we can. Like this thing, like turmeric has this pathway, it does this thing, and we can measure it this way. So we try to track it. Then we say, this is what it looked like before we started it. This is what it looked like after we started it. And this is what it looks like when we stop it. And that way we can isolate it to some degree. Again, it's not perfect, but it's as best we could do with the measurement tools we have now and the science we have.
So you have a very big following online, and it seems to me to intersect very heavily with parts of the manosphere that are very into wellness. A lot of gym bros follow you, and there's a sort of growing culture of biohacking among kind of gym type people with various drugs and chemicals and testosterone and peptides and all that kind of stuff, a lot of which aren't very well regulated. Do you ever worry that people might hurt themselves by emulating you, by finding the one thing that you've said does this and go, well, I'll give that a go?
Yeah, the thing I'm trying to encourage is the scientific method. You know, when you do something as publicly as my project, you're going to catch criticism from everybody. Scientists will say, doesn't matter, it's an n equals 1, doesn't really matter. And then individuals will approach it from a different perspective, like, oh no, my version's better. And what I'm trying to say is, you guys, you could all have your opinions, that's all cool. Just measure yourself and do the scientific process. Even if it's not perfect, like you're saying, like even if you're doing a few things at the same time, you can do a better job at isolating. If I'm doing this thing, I expect this kind of result, I'm going to measure it this way. So at the basic level, I'm teaching the scientific method. It is good to experiment with structured measurement protocols and to know the outcome. And so versus like, really like what most people do is scroll social media. They hear about a thing and they do it, and there's no measurement to backdrop it. So there's no control in place. So that's what I'm trying to do is really more than tell people what to do, I'm trying to tell them how to do it. If you're going to engage, measure yourselves and follow the scientific method.
But it's not just about the measurements. I mean, it's about supplements that are not necessarily licensed for human consumption as well, right? And I mean, and the scientific method isn't looking at Bryan Johnson and seeing if it works for him. The scientific method, like we said, is a study of 100 people over 10 years.
That's right. But the thing is, if we were all to wait, so people have real life problems. Something comes up, like, a knee hurts, a back hurts, they have headache, and you then go out and try to find a doctor who can help me solve this thing, right? And like most people find that to be totally worthless. Then you go to LLMs, like, hey, I have these symptoms, I have these kinds of things. Like most people are out there just fighting on their own. Like, how do I find the most basic help in my life to help me address whatever I'm experiencing? And so when you think about it, people are legitimately trying to solve their own problem. And when you go out to the scientific basis, there's not enough science done in clinical trials to actually inform what you do on a daily basis. So people need to take this in their own hands. That's what they're doing. They're taking their health into their own hands because there's not a sufficient body of scientific evidence to support them in doing it. Now, If people want to explore in doing unregulated peptides, let them experiment. Now, can they be dangerous? Maybe. Can they measure themselves?
Maybe?
Yes.
Okay.
Is eating fast food dangerous? Maybe. Probably.
I think that's a definite yes. I'm interested the unregulated peptides aren't also a definite yes. Look, to what extent, when you conceive of all this in your mind, to what extent are you on an evangelical project to save the world, to end death, and to what extent are you a promotional device for your own company?
My singular objective in existence is to make a slight tweak to the human value system, where right now we value power, status, and wealth above all other objectives. And the tweak I want to make is that we value existence, life, that is our number one objective. And that basically we will grow past our mentality of martyrdom. But right now, if I'm building a company, for example, or if I'm working very hard in my career, I'm willing to sleep under my desk, sacrifice my sleep, not eat well, not exercise, work 24/7. I'm willing to sacrifice my existence for the accumulation of money. And that is true for status and other things. And what I'm trying to say is it doesn't make sense. As we give birth to AI, we are giving birth to a new era of existence where we might be able to extend our lifespans far beyond what we're doing now. And in that moment, YOLO is no longer the ideal dream life. It's preserving existence. That is our primary goal. That is my only reason of doing this.
I mean, you've said no prize is greater than being alive. I wonder if I agree with that, because it's not just to make money that people sacrifice, their time, their health, their sleep. It's for the sake of their family. It's, there are people who die young but have achieved great things. There are people who sacrifice their life in military combat to save the lives of others. I'm sure you don't devalue those kind of sacrifices.
No, certainly. In their time and place, that made sense under the moral and ethical value system of that time. And what I'm saying is this is a different time with different morals and values, where it no longer makes sense for one to sacrifice their life. It no longer makes sense for us to kill each other. It no longer makes sense for us to be flippant with the health of our planet. That this is a new era with new norms, new values, new ethics, where they seem surprising, but you have to open your mind to say this is a brand new way of understanding the world. It doesn't make sense to martyr oneself for a cause. Existence itself, that is the objective.
But if you think of, people who've made great sacrifices and died young, and in a very banal way, I can only right now think of rock stars. But somebody like Kurt Cobain, somebody like Jimi Hendrix, it's very hard to make the argument that they would have been better off living a long, unremarkable life than they were leaving an indelible imprint on humanity, isn't it?
The thing is, if you could interview them, and ask them when they're dead, hey, would you prefer to be dead or prefer to be alive? I'm guessing the majority of opinion of the dead people would prefer to be alive, even if you burn bright and burn young. The thing is, we have glorified this idea of people who die young, right? And like the Kurt Cobains, like we have this glory story.
I'm not saying he's a good example. I do take the point.
But there's stories we tell in our culture. Like, why do we glorify that? What is so great about being dead?
But are you really saying it's better to be a human being who achieves nothing but lives a long time, or a human being who achieves greatness and dies, perhaps at 50?
Yeah. See, this is the thing: is you're arguing that accomplishment is the goal.
Yeah.
And this is why I led the conversation with. I'm telling you, we value accomplishment above all other goals, so much so that we're willing to kill ourselves. And what I'm saying is, accomplishment is not worth killing yourself.
But I mean,
as a species,
you seem to be advocating a slightly bland existence in that case.
Not in the least bit. You're assuming that, right? And if you can catch the way you're thinking, I said nothing about blandness. I said existence itself is the highest value. Now, when you're alive, you have another day to do something. When you're dead, you don't. And this is the thing: is I think our conversations are a really good example of there are these deep-rooted notions we have about accomplishment and death. But the thing is, there's a brand new era coming up on us where we will start extending our lifespans, and it will become to a point where we'll say, man, it doesn't make sense to die and burn out and die. YOLO is not a good strategy.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I certainly plan not to. But look, is it you'll be familiar with your fan base, the people who follow you online? Is it, in your experience, is it mainly men who follow you, or is it women?
Women too.
Right, but mainly men.
No, it's actually a pretty decent split.
Okay, because I'm interested in look, biohacking. I mean, I don't know if you like the term biohacking, but it's a fascinating idea, the self improvement of it. But I'm interested in whether it's emotionally different for the people who do it from, I mentioned gym bros earlier. Excuse me, the people who want to be strong, or like looks maxing, things like that. It's all about the self improvement, and I'm interested in whether there's an ego in the self improvement side of things.
I mean, if you basically say people isolate health or biohacking, and they try to peg it as esoteric or eccentric or something like that. If you think about if you were to say someone who works very hard at their job, and I were to try to characterize that and be like, aren't you addicted to your job? Aren't you addicted to making money? Aren't you doing really weird things like killing yourself for your job? Right? I mean, you could ask those really sober questions, but we forget about it. We forget that we basically kill ourselves for our jobs. Right? So like the insanity is just how you frame it versus like when someone takes good care of their body, it's like, oh my God, there's something wrong with you, right?
But I would certainly say that there is a vanity in people who kill themselves for their jobs. I'm interested if there's a vanity in all forms of self improvement. I don't say that as a criticism. I'm just interested to know what you think about it.
No, I'm agnostic on what a person does with their existence. As long as they're not causing harm to someone else, they're alive and they're doing their thing. And what I'm trying to say is above that layer, I don't want to express an opinion. I'm advocating as a species, when you approach life with a kamikaze-like attitude, that you're willing to kill yourself and others and society through your habits and your behaviors. Like, for example, companies make money and profit when they sell things that kill people. And we applaud that in society. That is insane. Why would we ever allow someone to benefit for a company killing people around us and making society worse? So there's all these practices we have which are just really unhinged in our society, and we can't see them because we're normalized to them.
As I said at the beginning, I'm completely I'm fascinated by what you do. Sometimes it does seem to attract hostility from some people, even derision from some people. Why do you think that is?
The derision is great. The hate is great. This is the natural process. My ideas about the world are new. They challenge the status quo. And so you look back through history, it's as predictable as any change that's ever come forward. People feel uncomfortable because they feel challenged. So it's all natural. It's all expected. I take it in great stride. I empathize with the challenging nature of the world. It's totally cool.
Look, you also, of late, you share details of your girlfriend Kate's health, including quite recently details of her vaginal biome as well. And she has endometriosis, which is a reproductive condition that affects 1 in 10 women. She says she wants to become the most measured female in history. Tell me about your plans there. Are you setting out to find a treatment that is going to help those 1 in 10 people? Some people are wondering whether that is a commercial opportunity as well.
Yeah, so we're currently trying to solve 2 incurable diseases. One is mine, one is hers. Anytime you begin measuring the body, anybody's body, you're going to find stuff. And so the question is not if you have stuff, it's what stuff do you have, and if you can find it fast enough. So we're moving from the basics of health and wellness to trying to solve incurable disease. And then 2, if you read the literature of women's health, it's a pretty shocking state. Women have not received red carpet treatment on their health. They have largely been misunderstood for a very long time. They've not received the same benefits as men. And so I think there's really an opportunity that for women to be as well characterized and as much scientific evidence as men. And so I think this is both about women's health. It's also trying to allow women to be legible to themselves and legible to society.
Okay, look, this is absolutely my last question. But do you ever wake up in the morning and think to yourself, screw this, I'm having a burger and a cigarette?
No. You know what? If I ate a burger and a cigarette, I would feel so bad. It would be incomprehensible to me. It would be the worst experience ever. I just have there were times in my life where I would crave a fast food meal. And then of course, I think everyone has this experience. You eat it and then it's like, oh man, this feels awful. Like the payoff is never there. You never eat it and you're like, I feel like a better human. It's instantaneously worse. And so I finally crossed over. No, I do not desire it. It's awful. It makes me feel terrible.
Okay, well, Bryan Johnson, thanks very much indeed for your time. And I wish you the best of luck. Let's speak again in 50 years.
Great.
It's a deal.